Heather LeBas here, back to show you guys another fabulous little art tutorial. Today we're going to be focusing on texture. Texture is a really great thing to work on and practice getting really great at because it's all those little details that compose your drawing and really add interest and dimension. I clearly remember my first little texture assignment that I did back in high school when I was a freshman. Yeah, it didn't go very well. So that's why I'm making this tutorial for you guys, so it's not an annoying assignment, it's actually something that you're able to learn from. I even made you guys a little worksheet so you could follow along with me because I love you guys. I think about you. If you want to print that out, it will be in the description below. So without further ado, let's get into it. The very first thing you're going to want to do before you even begin to draw is find the very best objects you can practice drawing texture from. Here are a few things to keep in mind when you're going through your house or your backyard looking for objects to draw. Don't draw from a photo reference. To really get the most from this exercise, choose an object you can see and touch. It's important not to confuse pattern and texture. This scrapbook paper has an interesting pattern, but unless we're looking under a microscope, we can't see the paper's texture. However, you will notice many textures in nature that have a reoccurring pattern. Now, for the sake of this tutorial, I would recommend choosing objects that do not have a smooth texture. The approach I take to drawing smooth surfaces is very different from the detail-oriented approach that I'm going to be focusing on. So these are the objects I decided to go with. I picked out a clamshell, a rose leaf, a granola bar, a piece of tree bark, faux fur from a dog toy that my dog pretty much destroyed, and a sponge. Now that I finally have everything, I can get started. I'm going to be skipping over how to draw the clamshell, rose leaf, and granola bar because I'm going to be making another tutorial showing you guys how to draw these textures with colored pencil. If you're curious about all of the products and tools that I'm going to be using, I will have that information in the description for you guys. The very first thing that I'm going to start off by doing is lightly sketching in a rough outline using my HB pencil. And if you don't happen to have a pencil with a lighter lead, you can always opt in for a dull pencil. Now, don't sweat over copying your reference objects perfectly. You'll just go crazy. Instead, use the texture as inspiration. Focus on the direction of the lines and the curves that you see. Right here, I'm just thickening the lines that I've created to give my drawing more depth. Picking up my number 2 pencil, I start to define the lines I've created even more. Now here is one of my biggest secret weapons to drawing texture. Get in there and add small, tiny little details. By adding small dots and tiny little lines, you help add more interest and life to your image. Coming in with my Tortillion, I blend out my sharp edges, and then I come back with my mechanical pencil and create another layer of dark values. What I'm actually doing here, besides just taking out my aggression, is getting in there with the Q-tip to create more mid-tone grays while smoothing over my edges. Then I pop some more highlights back into my drawing with my magical pencil eraser. This guy is my best friend. Now that I've built up a solid base, it's time to go Woodstock on those details. Add a bunch of irregular lines and dots to mimic the tree bark's complex texture. Now we're gonna blend the dickens out of what we've just done. Yeah, it's gonna look like we completely charred the drawing, but we're gonna whip out our magical pencil eraser and resuscitate the highlights. Oh yeah, bringing those highlights back to life. Let's go back and deepen those values again. You can use the mechanical pencil for precise dark lines, the number 2 pencil for a medium gray, and lastly, the HB pencil for adding a delicate soft touch. I'm going to come back one final time to gently pop my highlights. I'm not going to be pressing too hard, and I'm just going to be really gently grazing the surface. Now remember, it doesn't have to automatically resemble the texture you draw, especially if you opted to draw a close-up. The main goal of this exercise is to really train your eyes to recognize small little details. And there we go, that pretty much finishes up our first texture. Now let's move on to drawing this little fuzzball. I love how it looks like a mini little bearskin rug. I'm starting off by sketching some irregular lines in, and then I'm going to take my Tortillion and place down some of my midtones. I'm creating some V-shapes as I go along. Coming back with my number 2 pencil, I am just adding some smaller strokes on top of the ones I have already created. And again, I'm just smoothing over any of the little lines that I've created with my Tortillion. Since the drawing needs some more highlights, I'm now going in with my magical pencil eraser again and adding some wispy little lines. Now I really want to get in there and start pushing some of those shaded areas with my number 2 pencil. I'm going over to capture the darkest parts of my drawing. I'm going to be using my Tortillion a lot to give my faux fur texture a soft appearance. When it gets too flat and I need a little bit more of a highlight, I will just come back in with my magical erasers and that will do the trick. For a final touch, I'm using a Q-tip to gently soften the look. In case you're wondering, I happen to use the Q-tips when I want a more blurred, softer appearance, and when I use my Tortillion, I'm going for a more defined look. I could have kept going with this, but I decided to stop here and give my dog its toy back. If you want to keep going though, I recommend coming back in with your mechanical pencil to create more defined wispy lines. Lastly, I will be drawing Mr. Sponge over here. I just thought this little guy would be a lot of fun to draw. I'm beginning to lightly sketch some of the basic organic shapes and patterns I see, and I'm not following one area either. I'm taking inspiration from all around the little sponge and just getting basic ideas off of things that I think would be a lot of fun to draw. Starting my first layer, I'm just blending with my little Q-tip here. I'm also using this cotton round to give me a nice even base. Redefining my shapes with my number 2 pencil, I will immediately come back with my Tortillion and soften out the look. Yeah, you're going to see me repeat this pattern quite a few times throughout this drawing, and it's really going to help me finish it off and make it pop. I really want to create the illusion that these holes have a slight depth to them, but not too much. And here I am repeating the process yet again. Right here, I'm taking my pencil and doodling soft overlapping circles in a bubbly motion. Now I'm just coming back and softening these patterns with my Tortillion to help create more depth and dimension. Now I think it's about time that we whip some of these erasers out. I will be using my pencil eraser for smaller areas and also grabbing my kneaded eraser to give a nice abstracted little highlighted look. Now it's about time that we take this drawing up a notch. We're going to take out our mechanical pencils and create little abstract lines and dots, and this is really going to help finish off our drawing. And whenever you feel like you just need to pop some more highlights in there, well, you know what to do. Get out that magical little eraser set you got and just go for it. To finish this drawing off and really capture the last little pieces that I want to add, I'm just creating the smallest, tiniest little dots to finish off my sponge texture. And voila, we're done! So there you go. I hope you really enjoyed this tutorial, and if you did, make sure to give it a big thumbs up before you go. And I am super excited that it is summer and I could finally make videos for you guys and actually spend time editing and making them look cool. So heck yes. If this happens to be your first time stopping by this channel, well, hello there, welcome to the club. This is a channel dedicated to art lovers like you, so if you want to join us for next time, you can always subscribe. I love you guys so much, take care, and I will see you in my next video. Mwah!